Alright, so we want to proceed with the construction of the sleeve block today. Remember that from the last time we met, we looked at the construction of the front and the back gown blocks. But today, we want to construct the sleeve to balance the V-neck gown that has been drafted. So the first thing is to mark down from the tip of the paper. Now, this paper is folded into two because we want to draft the front and the back together. So we would come down just 1 inch from the tip of the paper, and that will be our starting point. So 1 inch. Having done that, we are going to be drafting for these three types of sleeves. As we said, it's the short, the 3/4, and the long. So first of all, take positioning of each of them. From the measurements we took the last time, we saw that the length of the short sleeve is 8, while that of the 3/4 is 16, and the long sleeve is 24. So we'll go that way. From the top here to the short sleeve will be 8. Then to the 3/4 will be 16, and to the long sleeve will be 24. So we're going to be marking out that at another point to make sure it's easier to grasp, to rule our line. This will be 8 for short sleeve, 16 for 3/4, and 24 for long sleeve. So we're going to just label the points. This will be the shoulder line. This is the bicep line. This is going to be the calf line. Calf line, I told you, is the fullest part of the second part of the arm, and this is going to be the M line. That is the M of the sleeve. Now, this is for an adult, so we're going to take the armhole guide to be around 5 inches from the shoulder line, between 5 inches to the shoulder line. So we'll take it here. I'm going to take that too. So I will spread that out, and that I call the armhole guide. Keep that in mind. So you see that already we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines drawn. All right, so the next thing is to determine the width of the armhole guide. That armhole guide is going to be what we had as the bicep measurement divided by 2. So 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So we're going to measure that out from here. So 6.5 inches. We measure it out to this point. Then from there, we'll be measuring the other widths that we are going to be using. So we take the calf. The calf measurement is 11. So we divide that by 2. That will give us 5.5 inches. 5.5. And the final one is the measurement of the sleeve L. That is at the wrist. That is 7.5 inches. When you divide that by 2, that will give us 3 3/4. 3 3/4 here. So those lines are important for us. We are going to join them together. So let's make the joining using some straight lines and see. Before we join the calf to the armhole, we are going to be drawing a straight line to this point to draw the sleeve edge before we now join that point together. So what we have here, we are going to divide this into 2 this way. So from this end here, let me take the tape measure this way so it's easier for us to fold. So from this tip, you see the tip of the tape measure is at the edge of the paper. We fold back into 2. Half of this way, then we come to half into the second half here too. We find the half of it, stops here. Then from the first half that we drew, we are going to go up by half of an inch this way. While for this other space, the second point we mark here, we will go in with a quarter of an inch. Take note of something here. This line, I'm trying to make sure that it is flowing with this straight line because it must be at a right angle. So this place will be quarter of an inch. We then pick the French curve to join these 3 points together. This way. So we're going to stop at that straight line before we're going to continue with the curve. So the curve will continue here, just like this. Now, this is going to be the sleeve edge for the back. For the front, we are going to go in by half of an inch. That is, we picked in 1/4 before. We go with it 1 other 1/4, and then we join these other lines together from this point to the end, like this. So having drawn this edge, we are going to be confirming the measurements we have. So I'm going to measure around the first, that is the back that was done before. See the way I slanted the tape measure. We want to confirm this together with the measurements we had before. So this gave me 8.5 inches. Then I'm going through the front, that is the second one. I first measured this 8.5. I will measure this too. So this gives 9 inches. So 9 inches plus 8.5 inches gives us 17.5 inches. So I want to confirm that against the pattern we drew before. This is for the front block, measuring that armhole. The first instance, this is about 9.25, and we measure in this as well. This gives about 8.5 inches. So if we add 8.5 inches plus 9.25 together, that will give us 17.75. Now that is giving us something very close. So it means our measurements and what we determine there is going to work. So we, from this point, join the other side of the arm together. So I will just be joining from this point. Don't forget that we are taking it towards the wrist. So from this place, I'm going to mark it out to the wrist. That will give us the dimension of the long sleeve. So I will mark that out with a marker so that it becomes very visible. So what we end up having as the sleeve will be this. Now I will be tracing out first the front. That is the deeper point of the sleeve. And then the wrist line here. So we'll also rule out this one just like I've done, which will be for the back. So the next thing to do will be to cut off the pattern. We follow this guide, but pay attention that we are going to be cutting out the back first. That is the first line. Now take note of the strokes that we are using again. That since it is a straight line we are cutting here, you will make it a long stroke so that you don't have several joinings along the line. So having cut out this pattern, we'll take just one. Don't forget we folded into two. So we'll take the other one and trim off this other end here. So with that, the sleeve block will be ready for transfer to the fabric. Thank you.